lose for the third game in a row, second time in a row to the Minnesota Wild. But this time, they lose in overtime. The Hawks tonight, they played a lot better than they did last night against the Minnesota Wild. In Chicago, this game goes into Minnesota, the Hawks played a lot better. But they could not hold off the Wild in any special teams moment, because this game was a special teams backbreaker tonight for the Hawks. The PK blew it. The Hawks in the final minutes of play blew it, as the Wild had to go empty net. Then they go into overtime, and overtime they couldn't find it. So, special teams is the main objective here, and the Hawks came in with Kevin Lankinen playing well tonight, but couldn't get Lankinen the win. They lose in overtime 4-3 to the Minnesota Wild. As I mentioned, last night the Hawks were garbage in all sides of play. Tonight, the Hawks were a lot better, but they were bad on the PK. That led to them losing this game, basically. They couldn't hold the lead through the PK, and the Wild took advantage of it. They got momentum late, and they ended up beating the Hawks in overtime. This is what kills me. This team shows they can play better, but they decide to fall apart. I get it. Minnesota's one of the top teams in the NHL. I get it. We're one of the worst teams in the NHL due to the offseason moves the Hawks made last offseason, and in the start of the year, we had the worst head coach in the NHL in Jeremy Colleton. The Hawks went on a good streak when Derek King took over. Then they started to go on a bad streak, went on a 5-game win streak, and now we're on a 3-game lose streak. This team's a joke. I get it. But tonight they played a lot better, but they allowed 44 shots in this game and only had 36 shots. The Hawks had as many shots as they did last night, but the Wild nearly doubled their shots from last night in this game. So let's get to the goals of the game, shall we? In the first period, it was all Chicago Blackhawks. The Hawks were moving the puck well, getting opportunities off, and playing great hockey from the drop of the puck. And at 9:51 in the first period, scored by number 13, Henrik Borgstrom. His third goal of the season, assisted by number 56, Erik Gustafsson, to make it a 1-0 game. And this goal by Borgstrom was just a tip in from the slot from a shot from Gustafsson to give the Hawks a 1-0 lead about 10 minutes into the game. Then the Hawks kept the play going. They were moving the puck well, and they get a power play. And on this power play, at 17:07 in the first period, scored by number 12, Alex DeBrincat, his 24th of the season, assisted by number 4, Seth Jones, and number 17, Dylan Strome, to make it a 2-0 lead for your Chicago Blackhawks. This power play was a great passing power play. They were moving the puck well, and this ends up being our only power play of the night because the refs tonight really wanted to call everything against the Hawks and not the Wild. I should mention that. Yeah. But the Hawks get a power play goal. Alex DeBrincat with his 24th of the season. This was a great passing power play. A get on the board. Hawks 2-0. Then the Hawks get sent to the box at because Eric Gustafson gets called for tripping when he laid a hip check. And at 19:30 in the first period, Joel Harrison Eck scores his 12th of the season. This was assisted by Zuccarello and Spurgeon. Off a face-off, the Wild win it and get it in the back of the net. Nothing you could fault Lakeinen there because this goal was just a pure goal off a face-off. It's hard to go. So the Hawks go up 2-1 going into the second period. And the second period of play was where we needed Lakeinen, as the Wild came out in that second period with all sorts of momentum, firing pucks off, getting power plays, and the Hawks having to kill them, and Lakeinen needing to come up big for your Chicago Blackhawks. So the Hawks stay with that 1-goal lead going into the third period of a 2-1 lead. So in the third period, this happens. The Hawks come out and got a couple chances off, but Hawks get sent to the box. And at 10:45 in the third period, Kirill Kaprizov scores on the power play, his 17th of the season, assisted by Zuccarello and Spurgeon. On this power play, I should mention how I said the refs were really not great tonight. Well, in my opinion, the Hawks shouldn't have been sent to the penalty kill. Taves gets sent to the box for 4 minutes. But before the penalty happened, Alex DeBrincat in the offensive zone shoots the puck, and Ryan Hartman laid a late hit looking like he injured DeBrincat. Luckily, Cat came back out to play later on in the game. But Hartman doesn't get penalized. He should have for a late hit. And the Hawks go to the penalty box for 4 minutes. Taves gets sent for hooking Kaprizov. And then he goes to the box and gets called for unsportsmanlike conduct for hitting his stick against the boards, because these refs tonight were horrendous. They were garbage. Giving the Hawks having to kill off 4 minutes of penalty. They don't with a minute and a half remaining on that power play. The Wild Kaprizov ties it to make it a 2-2 game. And, well, the Hawks get screwed out of getting a power play because Hartman lays a late, in my opinion, dirty hit on DeBrincat, leading to the Hawks having to go to a penalty kill. The refs tonight, in my opinion, were one of the worst officiated games I've seen in a while. That's why I have to mention it, because it doesn't get done yet with the refs. But, okay, this game is tied 2 goals. So, we get an opportunity. Come out, and at 12:03 in the third period, for his 2nd of the night, 4th of the season, scored by number 13, Hendrik Borgstrom, assisted by number 58, Mackenzie Entwistle, and number 22, Ryan Carpenter. This goal was a weird one. Borgstrom gets it on net. Puck comes loose. I swear Carpenter should be credited with this goal, but he doesn't get the credit for the goal. Borgstrom does. Hawks up 3-2 over the Wild. That's good to see. They bounce back immediately after giving up the tying goal on a power play to Kaprizov. So Hawks are back on the board with the lead 3-2. And then later on, the Wild pull their goalie at with about 3 minutes and 21 seconds remaining in regulation time. And it works. Because at 17:56 remaining in with 3 minutes remaining in regulation time, the Wild tie it up again. 6-on-5 attack. Kevin Fiala with his 10th of the season, assisted by Greenway, to make it a 3-3 game, and the Hawks are tied with minutes remaining in regulation time with the Minnesota Wild. So, late regulation goal to the Wild can spark a team. And, well, we go to overtime. As I've mentioned in past games when this team goes to overtime for the Hawks, they go with Alex DeBrincat, Patrick Kane, and a defenseman. The Hawks continue that, but this time they win the faceoff. And, well, the Hawks and Wild set up. The Hawks go into the offensive zone with the puck. Hawks lose the puck. Kane gets called for hooking Kaprizov, and then Kaprizov high sticks Kane. So, 2 penalties get neglected, and we see Kane and Kaprizov in the box for overtime. Shouldn't it have gone to 4-on-4 when the 2 minutes was up? I would have thought so, but it didn't. Because later on in the overtime, with less than a minute remaining in overtime, at 4:22 in the overtime, Marcus Foligno gets his 16th of the season, assisted by Greenway, to make it a 4-3 Wild win in overtime. So the Hawks had multiple times with the lead tonight, and they couldn't hold it. Tonight, you cannot blame Kevin Lankinen. He played on his head tonight. He was stellar for your Chicago Blackhawks. This team just couldn't hold it, special teams-wise. So, down in the comments down below, I want to hear what your thoughts were on tonight's game, officiating, how this game played out, and thank you for watching the broadcast. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And most of all, it's a rough loss for the Hawks. They get a point, but let's go Hawks.